What up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are talking about 2024's Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. Ooh, the scar. I don't know. The title seems kind of pointless because, you know, they call her the Scargiver, but the only real scar we see is like a bullet wound from the first movie and the guy survived. I don't know. These movies look good, right? Like, if visually you're like, okay, this looks pretty banging, but like the story, like, I know, like, the Rotten Tomato score really says something, because the first movie scored very low and the second movie scored even less, right? So people, I'm not alone here, where people are watching this going, holy Christ, like, why do I care, right? Like, all the characters that they're showing us, sure, it's a decent cast. Damon Heinsu plays the general. The lady with the swords, you know, like the whole crew that they got is pretty decent, but the dialogue scenes kind of feel clunky. The slow motion, right, Zack Snyder's staple of slow motion, is fine in action sequences, but there's sequences like where there's slow-mo, and the slow-mo just keeps going on and on and on for no reason and is pointless. And then there's parts that you want to slow down a little bit more and see more of it, and then they cut by that faster, and you're like, come on, like, the parts that are really slow need to be faster, and the parts that are really fast need to be slower, right? Like, it's just a mess. And then, like, there's really one part of this movie that stuck out to me that, like, was really cool, and it's, what's his name? Anthony Hopkins voices this robot here, and he's like supposed to be Jimmy the assassin droid or something like that. And he's pretty badass, pretty much a marksman, you know, like the last of his kind. But they really haven't, like, he's the most interesting part to me from the first movie and this second movie. And yet we don't really get to see much of him at all, right? Like, he destroys a tank at one point, and that's like it. And that was like one of the coolest parts of the movie, and I was like, alright, well, so much for that. I will say, I hate that Ajax is back. I really don't know his name. I should look that one up too. The dude from, the bad guy from Deadpool 1, Ed Skirrin, played Atticus Noble, and he's a real pussy. I really don't like his character at all. And I watched this just a couple days ago, and I don't even remember what happens, right? Like, where I'm like, does he die? I know she doesn't, but like, what happens at the end of this movie? It just doesn't feel very impactful or necessary to even pay attention. Like, it's just one of those movies that you're like, oh god, I don't know why I don't like this so much, but I do, right? And Damon Heinsu, I don't know if I'm saying that, but, you know, sorry for the mispronunciation, but he's like the general. His character's actually pretty good. I was kind of buying into him a little bit. The sword lady, alright, I'll give her this. The fight scenes with the flaming sword lady and like her metal arms and like the backstory we got on her this movie, I kind of was digging that stuff too. But then they don't utilize her as enough. She has like one real fight scene in this bar, and that's kind of it. And she loses one of those arms, and I'm like, come on, like, she's a beast. She should have fucking sliced and diced all of these fools. I don't know why Zack Snyder would put out these movies that feel very lackluster in their storytelling and everything, and then like just be sitting on these director's cuts that are apparently way better, with better line delivery and better hardcore gory stuff and better action and better fighting. It's like, well, why wouldn't we want to see that? You know what I mean? Like, why would we stick around for this junk? Where, like, a lot of people probably aren't even watching these, and they're just waiting for the director's cut. Now, we had no information on the director's cuts. Apparently they're coming in August, but like now in the middle of the summer when everyone wants to be outside, now you're gonna drop your stupid director's cuts? I mean, I'll probably watch them then, but like, because that's what I've been waiting for. But I almost rewatched the first one to rewatch the second one, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, oh my god. You know, even watching the second one, I'm like, this is tough stuff right here. But overall, I gave this movie 1.5 stars out of 5 stars. So 3 out of 10, you know, and that's honestly probably generous. You know, it doesn't have much going on for it, like the robot scene with Anthony Hopkins, you know, character, but it's clearly not him. It's just him doing some ADR voicing, which is kind of lame, but also kind of like, alright, well, if he's just going to be voicing it, why can't we have this robot thing doing more, you know? And the villain I don't really love, but the cast pretty cool. The costume design's still pretty great, you know? So stuff like that is where I give the points. But just the storytelling, the unnecessary slow-mo, the Zack Snyder bullshit, right? Like, this movie's exhausting, right? Like, even just talking about it, I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna go to work. I'm not even gonna continue to edit or anything today. I just filmed this morning. It's like 11 o'clock right now, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to work this afternoon. I'll come back, edit later. I'll maybe record some more videos later today, but it's currently Wednesday when I'm filming this, so maybe this video will come out later today. If so, Tatum time. Let's get it. The Celtics. It's gonna be a good night. But that's it for me. My name is Big Cam. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss future videos. Comment below what you thought of Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. Comment below what do you think of Zack Snyder. What's your favorite film from him? Probably 300 for me. Maybe Watchmen. That's a pretty good one as well. And, you know, I'm a fan of his movies. You know, I'm not saying he's the worst, but his fans are terrible. And, you know, some of the shit I've heard him say about, like, Batman and Superman, I'm like, this guy read one comic book and like they're like, oh, he's a genius, he's like, he knows everything about comic books. And like, go watch a James Gunn movie and how much nods are to the comics and how much he really enjoys and appreciates characters that aren't even the main character, and then go watch a Zack Snyder film and you tell me who deserved to be the head of DC. I think they chose correctly. But comment below, what do you think? Tell me I'm wrong. Smash that like button for me, subscribe. All my social media is in the links in the description below, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace.